Hello everyone and welcome to Merlin's Manor for another Game Mechanics Monday. Today I'm going to be talking about worker placement games. Now what is a worker placement game? Well, it's a game where you take your worker, such as this, or even a cute little animal worker. Sometimes even a die can be your worker. And as I found out with a game called Gugong, even cards can be your workers. So what you're going to do, you're going to take that worker and you're going to place it on a place on a board in order to take an action associated with that place you're going. Now the action may be to get resources. It may be able to play a card. It may be able to take cards. It may be able to do quests. All kinds of different actions can be associated with different things. So what you do is you take your meeple and you place it on the board and you take that action. And so it's fairly easy to do, very easy to explain. Not a whole lot to this mechanic. However, there's a lot of strategy that goes into this mechanic, especially in different types of games. For instance, a lot of games, only so many workers can go on a location. Sometimes even only one worker can go to a location. And so you may want to go to a location to block somebody else. You may want to rush to a location in order to get there before somebody blocks you. There's so many different things that go into these worker placement games as far as strategy goes. And so it can be very interesting to try and figure this all out. Now, some worker placement games start you out with very few workers, and you gain more workers as you go, either through gaining them round by round, or you gain more workers through doing certain actions that will get you more workers. Other games will start you out with a lot of workers, and slowly you lose workers as the game goes on. And then some games will go ahead and start you out with a certain amount of workers, and they're static. You keep that same amount of workers all throughout the game. Now let's talk about games that do this worker placement mechanic well. The first one I want to mention is a game called Stone Age, and this is a very classic game. It's been around for quite some time, and it's also a good introductory game into this worker placement mechanic. Basically, you are going to be trying to score points by getting resources and be able to build certain things. You get certain tools that will help you do all of that, but you also have to worry about feeding your workers so that you don't lose for that reason. And so you need to kind of balance that out as you go. And you are going to be able to put multiple workers on a location to get multiple resources. And there's just all kinds of different things you can do in that game, but it's a very simple introductory way to learn worker placement games. Another good introductory worker placement game is a game called Everdell. And I have that one right here. And this game, you start out with 2 workers, and you can only go to 2 different places there at the very beginning. And you're going to be mainly trying to get resources with your workers, although as you progress through the game, you're also going to be using those workers in order to claim different monuments for victory points. And there are a few other different types of actions along the way that you can do as well. And so you're going to start out with those 2 workers, and then next season you're going to get 3, and then 4, and then finally in the last season you'll get 6 workers. And so as you go along, you'll be able to do more and more with your workers through this game. So Everdell is another easy introductory into the worker placement system. Another worker placement game is Lords of Waterdeep. In this game, you are going to go in some places to get different cubes that represent different types of people, and you're going to need those people in order to complete quests. You're also going to need resources in the way of money at times. Sometimes you get money by completing quests, and you get victory points as you complete those quests as well. And so you're going to go to locations in order to get more of those quests. You're going to go to some locations in order to build buildings, which give you benefits when other people go to that building. And so there's all kinds of different things that you can do in order to try and get the most victory points throughout the game. Another worker placement game is called Under Falling Skies. And this is a solo game. And in this game, you are using different dice in order to be your workers. And you put those out in order to defeat the aliens that are coming to invade Earth. And so there's different actions that you're able to take with these worker dice. If you want to know more about this game, you can check out my tutorial and playthrough. But it's a very interesting solo game using dice as your workers. Now, the next one I want to talk about is actually my favorite worker placement game. And this is called Dinogenics. And Dinogenics, it has a lot of different things you can do. In fact, I've got the board right here. And this is the board. It's got lots going on it, as you can see. Lots of different places you can go to do different things. You can go to a ferry to get some money. You can go to sites to get cards that you're going to be using as DNA to be able to play dinosaurs. There's a site you go to in order to actually play those DNA cards. There's a site you go to in order to interact with a marketplace and to get fences and different things like that. You've got all kinds of different actions that you can do on this game. And so it's a great worker placement game, and it's my favorite worker placement game. Now the last game that I want to mention is Charterstone by Stonemaier Games. And this is a legacy game where you're using your workers to build a village. And I wanted to bring mention of this game because it has a very interesting way that the workers interact. You see, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of games where you put your workers somewhere and it blocks somebody from going to that location. Well, in this game, you have a couple of workers that you are putting out, and actually, you put those workers out and you try and predict where somebody might want to go, because then they will come to that place and you get your worker back. See, otherwise, after you've played your workers, you don't have any workers left to play, you have to go ahead and take an entire turn to get your workers back and not do anything. And so that's very inefficient. But if you go somewhere and then somebody else wants that location, they will go there and you get your worker back and you can then place it somewhere else. And so Charterstone has that very interesting mechanic there that I think adds a lot to the game. So those are 6 games that I think do a great job with the worker placement mechanic. What are some games that you enjoy that are worker placement games? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.